New question, the member from Kenora-Rainy River.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Premier. Yesterday, First Nations communities expressed their strong disappointment that they only heard about the Cliffs announcement at the last minute, rather than being invited to the table months ago to work on a path forward. Here is Minister Wynn's explanation for the process. I quote, "I think people will have to speak to Cliffs about that because they set the parameters for the discussion. Premier, this is your responsibility. Stop trying to pass the buck. Why won't you consult with First Nations communities about development in the North?"
Minister of Northern Development, Mines, Speaker.
Minister of Northern Development and Mines.
Well, the reality is, Speaker, we've been having ongoing consultation and dialogues with our First Nations communities. One of the most important announcements yesterday was the framework for future consultation with our First Nations. They told us that regional infrastructure supports were necessary for that framework consultation. We listened. They told us that social supports were necessary for that framework consultation. We listened. They told us that regional environmental impacts were very important to the framework discussion. We listened.
Yes, sir.
They told us that resource benefit sharing must be on the table. We listened. And this is what Wanapitei First Nations chief says.
Thank you.
The Cliffs announcement means Wanapitei First Nations people.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Back to the Premier. This government has made a much-awaited announcement that was negotiated behind closed doors, without any job, education, revenue-sharing guarantees, and without consultation. After ignoring First Nations for months, this government made an 11th-hour effort to divide and conquer by negotiating with only some of the First Nations communities, and even then it failed to provide guarantees. The Ring of Fire will only be successful if it works for families in the North. After leaving First Nations out of the process at the start, why should First Nations trust the Premier that real, meaningful consultation will take place now?
Good question.
Minister.
Real meaningful consultation took place in the past. Real meaningful consultation is taking place now. And real and meaningful consultation will take place in the future. You know what else they said? They said they want to establish a protocol by which our federal government becomes engaged. They want a tripart arrangement and agreement for discussion. We agree with that. They said they want to have the benefits of the Ring of Fire development through resource revenue sharing. We said we would enter into those discussions. They want meaningful jobs from the Ring of Fire development. We guaranteed through our involvement that we would provide the supports necessary to ensure that they're ready for these very, very important, well-paying, long-lasting jobs. The reality is we will continue to consult and dialogue with our First Nations communities because we understand in order for the Ring of Fire to maximize its benefits, it must maximize the potential for each and every person in Ontario. Thank you.